let's get on with the topic compound interest. Okay, what is compound interest? To comprehend compound interest, you have to recall how simple interest is calculated. In your previous grades, you have already calculated problems in simple interest. Okay, now I have given you first example to comprehend compound interest. But in addition to that, I have to explain simple interest too, because without reminding simple interest, you cannot newly learn the compound interest. That's the reason. Okay, we will read this question. If a person takes a loan of 20,000 at a compound interest of 10% per year, calculate the amount required to repay the entire loan in 3 years. Right. You know that question is given according to the compound interest basis. But what you know so far is simple interest. Then you must remember the first step of the simple interest as well as compound interest is same in the both process. Right? Then if you strike the simple interest, you will remind that. Then you will write principal. What do you mean by principal? The principal is the money borrowed or money deposited in a bank or some financial institute. Okay? Then principal. Which is a principal? If a person takes a loan of 20,000, this problem, the principal is 20,000. Therefore, the principal 20,000, you know. And for the compound interest too, the principal 20,000. Okay? The rate of interest is 10%, no need to mention. Then if I calculate interest for the first year, for the both question, the answer is same. The first step for the both situations is same. Remember. And interest. Interest for the first year. Interest for the first year, 20,000 into 10 over 100. By simplifying, we are able to get 200 into 10, 2,000 rupees. And here too, in the simple interest too, interest for the first year is same. Interest for the first year. Interest for the first year, you had to do a general calculation of 10 by 100. The same 2,000 is coming. But when you are calculating compound interest, you have to gradually go to the second year too. In the simple interest, you are not going like that. So for the simple interest, if the question is calculate the amount required to repay the entire loan in 3 years, if the question is so, according to simple interest, the 2,000 is interest for first year or 1 year. The same, the interest for 1 year is 2,000. Then you have to calculate the total interest by the number of years, according to the number of years. Then we can exactly calculate total interest. No wasting, total interest. You know, the total interest is 2,000 into 3. It's easy, it's a simple. Not like compound. Right? This is 6,000. They at once, by the number of years, we have to multiply. But see, compound interest is not like that. For the compound interest, you have to go one by one. 1 year by year. Year-wise, you have to go. Okay, now I'm going to second year. The principal for the second year. Nobody can calculate total interest at once in compound interest is calculated. Principal for the second year. Principal for the second year is not the 20,000 or 2,000 both. You have to get the 20,000, the principal and interest. The both are added together. It is 22,000. You can just mention 20,000 plus 2,000 to get 22,000, but I didn't write because you can understand that 20,000 and 2,000 will be 22,000. This is the principal for the second year. This is the balance forward. This is the balance continued for the second year. The year by year we have to continue in the compound interest process, but not like the simple interest. That's what I have to explain. Okay, then if you want to finish the second year, then we have to write down interest for the second year. The interest for the second year. This interest is generally calculated at the end of the second year, and 22,000 plus, into 22,000 into, by the same rate of interest, it is a 10 over 100. Year by year, one by one, we had to go. Then, we had to keep this 0 because 220 into 10 is 2,200. You know, is the interest 2,000? No, it has been increased by 200 because 22,000 has come. Right? The gradually interest is calculated on the interest. This is called that. Right. Now, when you go to the third year too, then you have to calculate the third year principal first of all. Okay. I don't have a space to write, then I am going to erase the simple interest case because we don't teach you simple interest, just I reminded only. Then you have to learn compound interest, especially in this lesson. Okay, now I'm going to move to the third step. I have completed the first year, I have completed the second year. Now I am going to complete the third year. How to come with the third year? Then we have to write down principal for the third year. This is a general method for calculating compound interest. The principal for the third year. Then you have to totally forget the first year, and continually by considering second year previous only, we have to calculate the balance forward. What can be the balance forward? That it was big at 22,000 at the beginning. At the end of the year, it was 2,200. Then what will be the totality? The total will be 22,000 plus 2,200. 22,000 plus 2,200 will be 22,000, 2,000, 24,000, and with this 200, 24,200 we can calculate. 24,200 rupees. Okay, now finally to end of the problem, then this is ending by 3 years, then we have to again calculate the interest for the third year too. Interest for the third year. Then again 24,200 into 10 over 100. Right? The interest has gradually increased. Now, settlement or otherwise amount required to repay. Amount required to repay. It is considered by considering the last year, the third year, 24,200. You have to totally forget the first year, second year, don't cut like me. And 24,200 plus 2,420. We have to add the balance beginning of the year and the interest at the end of the year. It is 0, 0, 0, 2 and 0, 2, 4 and 2, 6, 2 and 4, 6 and 2. It is 26,620 rupees. This is the answer for the prepayment, that is settlement. Okay, right. But however, the process is somewhat long. It's a long process we have to follow. But without following this long process, we have to learn another 3 methods too. This is of course a first method of the question, the method 1. Okay, now I'm going to discuss method 2, method 3, method 4 in order to the first example. Okay, right. But however, without learning the first method, you cannot go towards the second or third or fourth, because this is the basic concept of the initial concept of the compound interest. Okay, wait. Now, can you remind this? Again, before we move to the second method, third method, so on, we have to re-study this. Keep this in your mind. We have to start with the principal for the first year, interest for the first year. When you are going to second year, principal for the second year, interest for the second year. When you are going to the third year, principal for the third year, interest for the third year. Principal, interest, principal, interest, first year, second year, third year, so on. Are you okay? Right. Now I'm going to erase this question, this answer. Remember 26,620. Okay. The second method, method 2. According to the method 2, we don't calculate interest year by year. At once we are calculating the total amount at the end of the year, including the interest. Without finding interest, we are calculating amount at the end of the first year, second year, so on. Okay, then I am writing that amount at the end of first year. Amount at the end of first year. How to calculate that? This steps expect amount, not an interest. Therefore, we had used the principal amount to calculate interest, but not interest actually. We had to calculate amount. Including this interest, how can we get the answer? Including interest. To use that, you have to follow 10% to 110%. 110%. Keep this remember, not 10%. We must remember 110% is used. Keep this in memory. And 00 cancel 200 into 110. It's 11 times 2, 22 and 000. Can you remember the interest calculated was the 2000 for the first year in the previous method. But this time we didn't calculate 2000, we exactly calculate whole amount for the first year. It was 22,000. Right? Now I am going to move the second year. Then amount at the end of the second year. Amount at the end of the second year. How to calculate? By means of this end of the first year, we have to continue. By means of this 22,000, what we have at the end of the first year, we have to reuse 10%, not 110%. Because we are considering the amount, not an interest. That's why we have to use 110% when we have 10%. Okay, we just multiply 11 times 2, 22. 11 times 2, 22, but 2 was remain 24. And 00. It was 24,200 rupees. Now, we have to multiply, we have to generate the third step. Amount at the end of the third year. I am writing amount. Nobody should calculate interest. Amount at the end of the third year. It is a settlement really. Right? It is 24,200 into 110 over 100. Please remember, nobody should use 10% when amount is calculated. When interest is calculated only, they have to use 10%. Okay, now 00 is cancelled. It is 11 times 2, you can 11 times 22, 2 is remaining, 11 times 4, 44 with this 2, 46, 4 is remaining, 11 times 2, 22 with this 4, 26, and keep this 0 aside. So what is the final answer? Of course, it is 26,620 rupees, right? Your answer is absolutely correct. With respect to the first method we follow, so we have to move the third method too. Okay, before we go to the third method, again we have to remind, because this is the first question, right? Okay, what's the process of the steps in second method? Right, or just having only 3 steps we completed, we could complete the answer, right? Therefore, right now we have to learn this. Okay, what's the method? What's the pattern of the writing sentences? Right? It is writing from amount, using amount. Amount at the end of the first year, amount at the end of the second year, amount at the end of the third year, amount at the end of the fourth year, like this. Okay? Right. Okay, however, we have to go for the third method too. In the third method, we can find whole answer. Whole answer means calculate the amount required to repay the entire loan in 3 years. This is what we had to get as the answer, but without using steps. We have to follow a geometrical way to get this answer. Remember, then I am writing amount to repay after 3 years. Only one step. Amount to repay, amount required to repay after 3 years. Okay. Then by means of this 20,000, we had to use, because of amount, which percent should I use? 10% or 110%? 110%. Then 110 over 100, 110 over 100, 110 over 100. How many times have I written 110 over 100? 1, 2, 3. 3 times. Why have I written 3 times 110 over 100? Because the question is asked for 3 years. If the question is asked for 2 years, you better use 110 over 100 only 2 times. Remember, this is the method to find the answer at once without wasting steps. Okay, right? We will follow. We have to cancel 2 zeros and these 2 zeros with the next 2 zeros and more. Finally, you are receiving 2 times 11, 22 and 0. This is going to be 11 times 11. 11 times 11, 121, you know. Okay, now we have to multiply this 121 with 220. Just forget the 0. In front of 121, we can multiply any number. Because 22 times 1 easy. 22, 2 is remaining. 22 times 2, 44. With this 2, 46. 4 is remaining. 22 times 1. 22 and that 4 remain 26. And don't forget to keep the 0. The same answer is coming. This is the method number 3. Especially method number 3. I couldn't write that. Method number 3. Okay. Right. How good is it, no? Right. Therefore, we have to learn. For a compound interest question, we can follow 4 methods I told you. But according to the syllabus, only these 3 methods are enough of the government's local syllabus. But however, internationally, specific formula is also used for finding this answer. I will teach you this formula too. Wait. I am erasing this. Method 4. Method 4. According to the method 4, there is a particular formula. A equal P1 plus R to the power n. We can prove this formula too, but we don't go to prove here itself. Reason with the time I have to manage the lesson, right? Okay, but however, before you go to substitute terms in the formula, you must know what the terms are. What do you mean by A? How are you supposing? A is the amount, P principal, 1 is 1, R rate of interest, N number of years. By A amount, P principal, R rate of interest, and N number of years. I don't write the terms because you can remind the terms. P. I am going to substitute instead of P. What is P? P is the principal 20,000. Right? I had to write 1 plus R to the power n. 1 is 1. What is R? R is the rate of interest. What is the rate of interest? The rate of interest is 10%. 10 over 100. It's a rate, not only 10. 10 over 100 rate. And N, number of years, 3. We'll say it's 20,000. We can simplify further, 0 and 0. So 1 plus 1 over 10. You know, 1 over 10 is a fraction, 1 is a number. How can we add fraction with a number? We have to recall, when there's a fraction, there must be another fraction to add there. Therefore, we can rearrange this 1 as 10 over 10, because 1 times 10 becomes 10, 10 over 10, 10 over 10, 1 over 10, how many? 11 over 10, totally it's 11 over 10, but 11 over 10 to the power 3 is there. But because of 3, I have to expand this, then I will expand 11 over 10, 11 over 10. Because of the power 3, I had to write 11 over 10 in 3 times. Okay. 20 into 11, you know, I didn't write the last 2 lemons because 11 times 11, you know, 121. I can write 121. And 20 times 11, what's the answer? 20 times 11. You know, 11 times 2, 22 and 0 and 121. We can multiply 22 times 1, 22. 2 is remain. 22 times 2, 44. With this 2, 46, 4 is remaining. 22 times 1, 22. With this 4, 26 and 0. The answer is 26,620. The same answer has come. Okay, but however, how the 4 methods are, right? We have to study these 4 methods very well to understand the compound interest. This is my first example for the compound interest. Then we have to go for the more questions for studying further compound interest knowledge. Okay. Example 3. Sethuni borrows 15,000 rupees for 20% compound interest per annum from the bank. How much should she pay to settle the loan in 3 years? Okay, this compound interest question we can continue with 4 methods as I discussed. Okay, now I'm going to discuss the first method, method 1. Keep listening. According to method 1, what's the process of the method 1? Principal interest, year by year we have to continue. Okay, I am writing principal for the first year. Principal for the first year. What is been the principal for the first year? So loan amount 15,000. Okay, now interest for the first year. Interest for the first year. What is first year interest? To this 15,000, you have to calculate the rate of interest. Because of interest, by the rate of interest, we have to calculate only 20%, 20 over 100. Your answer coming 15 times 2, 30 and 2 zeros, 3,000 rupees. Right, now principal interest. Now principal for the second year. Principal for the second year. What is in principal for the second year? 15,000 plus 3,000, it is 18,000. 18,000 and principal interest. Now we have to calculate interest for the second year. What is interest for the second year? This 18,000 is calculated with 20 over 100 because rate of interest is 20% and double zeros cancel. You know 18 times 2, just forget in zeros we can multiply. 18 times 2, you know 18 times 2, 36 and 3,600, not like 3,000. Year by year the interest is gradually increased according to the compound interest. You know, you have now experience, right? Then principal interest. Now we have moved to the principal again for the third year. Principal for the third year. Principal for the third year. Third year. What is being principal of third year? Now you have to close the first year. Close the second year. How to close the second year? The beginning of the second year it was 18,000. At the end of the second year it was 3,600 as interest. Now both 18,000 and 3,600 can be added together. When you add 18,000 with 3,000, just 21,000 and 600, 21,600 is a principal. It is the balance continued, balance forward. Okay, now after the balance forward to the third year, we can write interest for the third year. Interest for the third year. 21,600 into 20 over 100. Okay, now we can multiply 2 times 6 to 8, 2 times 1, 2 and that one, 3. 2 times 2, 4 and there's a 1 0. The interest has been increased to 4,320. Okay, now the question is asked for the 3 years. How much should she pay to settle the loan in 3 years? Therefore, we are now in the 3rd year. To settle the loan at the end of the 3rd year, we have to pay the balance beginning of the year and as well as the interest together. Right? We have to add amount to pay. Amount to pay. The amount to pay should be 21,600 plus 4,320. Okay, right? We'll add 0, 0, 0, 2 and 0, 2, 3 and 6, 9, 4 and 1, 5 and 2. It's the 25,920 rupees. Okay, now I am going to consider the method number 2. Method 2. According to the method 2, can you remember? We had to follow only 3 steps because the question is asked for 3 years. If the question is asked for 2 years, how many steps should I write? 2 steps. Okay? Right. Now, how can I start this step? Writing principal, interest or amount? Amount. Remember, keep. Okay? Amount. Amount at the end of the 1st year. Amount at the end of the 2nd year. Amount at the end of the 3rd year. Right. So, moderate method for every compound questions, we can use the second method as a general. Right. I think amount at the end of the 1st year. End of the 1st year. I don't have spaces. To calculate amount, don't forget, we don't use 20%. We use 120%. How to write? 120 over 100. Why did I use 120? Because we expect amount without an interest. Including interest, we are calculating the amount. Okay. Now how to get? 0, 0, cancel. And it is 150 times 120. Now just forget the zeros. We can remain with 12 times 5. 12 times 5, 60. 6 is remaining. 12 times 1, 12 with this 6, 18. Now we have to remind the 2 zeros you forgot. Oh, it is 18,000. This answer is coming. Right? This is the amount at the end of the 1st year as well as the principal for the 2nd year. Right? Because this is the balance which is to forward. Right. Okay. Now, amount at the end of 2nd year. Amount at the end of 2nd year, how to calculate? By means of this 18,000, we have to calculate again 120 over 100 and 00 cancel. This time we have to multiply 2 times, 12 times. I think 18 times is better. 18 times 2. You can just suppose 18 times 2, not 18 times 7, 18 times 2 easy. 18 times 2, 36. 3 remaining. 18 times 1, 18. That 3, 21. And 2 zeros. It is 21,600. This is the amount at the end of the 2nd year as well as balance forward out to 3rd year to principal of the 3rd year otherwise. Okay. Now we are going to finish the question. Right? Now we are write amount need. Amount required. Amount required to pay, to settle the loan at the end of 3rd year. I additionally wrote that amount required to settle the loan, or without writing this, of course, we can use amount at the end of the 3rd year. It doesn't matter. As you suppose, how you suppose, it's up to you. Okay? Right. Now, 21,600 is multiplied by the same number, 120 over 100. The answer is coming. Right? The 00 can be cancelled here too. And this times we have to multiply by 12. Okay, 12 times 6, 72. 7 remaining, 12 times 1, 12 with this 7, 19. 1 is remaining, 12 times 2, 24. 24 and 7, 24 and 1 is remaining, 25. And this 0 is 25,920. The same answer is come. Okay, right. We will move to the third method too. Third method. What's coming? Third method. Method 3. Okay. Quickly you have to remind what third method is. Right? Everybody, you remind third method. What's third method? Third method, we don't use steps. At once we get the answer. Right? Then amount required to settle the loan. Amount required to settle the loan after 3 years. In 3 years. Okay. And 15,000 is multiplied by 120 over 100, 120 over 100, 120 over 100. Why have I used 120 over 100 3 times? Because in 3 years the amount is paid. But if the loan is settled after 2 years, you just use only 2 times this 120 over 100 remaining. Okay, now we can simplify as we have, and we can cancel the zeros. Okay, all the zeros have been cut, and we have remained with 15 times 12 and 12 times 12. We can multiply 15 times 2, 30. 3 is remaining. 15 times 1, 15 with this 3, 18. And 12 times 12, you know. The 12 times 12 is the 144. Okay, how can we multiply 180 by 144? Okay, now we have to multiply 144 by 18. Okay, now you just tell 18 times 4. You know, you just have 9 times 4, 36 and double it. It is 72. And 7 is remaining. I believe, however, you can simplify or multiply all the answers, but I am teaching you the process. But 18 times 4 was 72, 7 is remaining. 18 times 4 again 72, and this 7, 79, 7 is remaining. 18 times 1, 7, 18 with that 7, 25 and 0. The answer is coming. Okay, right. The method 3, this is method 3. I'm going to discuss method 4. According to method 4, right? What's the method? A equal, there's a formula particular, P1 plus R to the power n. Right? You know P for principal. The principal is 15,000. And 1 plus, what is R being? R is the 20 over 100 because rate of interest. And n is the number of years. If the number of years reduced 2, then you better have 2 here. Okay? Right. Then 15,000 is outside. And within brackets we have to simplify as we have. And we can easily cut 2 and 10. 2 times 1, 2 times 5. It is further 1 plus 1 over 5 to the power 3. Okay? And 15,000 into 1 plus 1/5. It's a fraction with a number. Okay, when you have a fraction with a number, it is, we can rewrite 1 as 5 over 5. Just we can multiply by 5. So 5 over 5. So 1 over 5. What is that? Okay. Then you have to get this point, okay? Right? Don't get upset. You have to do this. 5 over 5, 1 over 5. Because the denominator is 5, then you get a 5 over 5. If the denominator is 1 over 6, you get 6 over 6. Okay? 5 over 5, 1 over 5. It is 6 over 5. Not only that, extremely we can to expand. Okay. Now we have to simplify 5 times 1, 5 times 3, 0, 0, 0. And 5 times 1, 5 times 6, 0, 0, 0. And 5 times 1, 5 times 1, 10 to 2, and 0. It's 120 times 6 times 6 times 6. What is mean 6 times 6? 36. And 36 times 6, 216. Because we have told you 6 to the power 3, because 6 to the power 3, 216. We can multiply. By multiplying this, your answer is coming to, you multiply 12 times 6, 12 times 6, 72. 12 times 1, 12, with that 7, 19. 12 times 2, 24. 1 was remain 25. And don't forget this 0. Answer is coming 25,920. Example number 3. Minadit and Janik are two friends. If Minadit lends 40,000 rupees at annual simple interest of 12% and Janik lends the same amount of compound interest rate of 10%, calculate who receives more money after 2 years. The question asks a comparative question. We had to find who has obtained the much money other than the Minadit or Janik, right? Okay, then how to start this? The one is according to compound interest, other one is going according to the simple interest. Okay, now the case of Minadit lends 40,000 at the annual simple interest rate of 12%. Right, this is the Minadit case. The principal is 40,000, the rate is 12%, and Janik lends the same amount of compound interest rate of 10%. So Janik, the same amount, don't forget the same amount. What do you mean by same amount? So 40,000, right? The 40,000 at the compound interest rate of 10%. So compound. The simple. Right? Now we have to compare. Before we go to compare, we have to calculate. But the loan signed in after 2 years. Therefore, then we have to calculate one by one. Okay, we will first simplify the case of Minadit. Minadit is going according to the simple interest. He lends the loan according to simple interest. Then how to calculate this after 2 years? Right. Then we know interest per year. Interest for a year. Interest for a year is being 40,000 into 12 over 100. You know how simple interest is calculated. And double zero cancel. It's 400 times 12. 12 times 4. 12 times 4, 48. And this 2 zeros, 4,800. It's the interest for a year. What's the number of years? 2 years. Then we have to calculate total interest for the loan. Total interest for the loan. The total interest will be 4,800 times 2. Nobody should go 1 year, year by year. Right? 2 times 8, 16, 1 remaining. 2 times 4, 8 and 1, 9. And double zero. It's 9,600 rupees. Right. This is total interest for whole loan. Now, to amount to get settled, amount. The amount will be the loan amount is 40,000. He lends 40,000. He can receive 9,600 as interest at the end of 2 years. Then total amount is 40,000 plus 9,600. 49,600 is the total amount. Right. This side we can calculate the case of Janik. Janik lends the same amount according to the rate of compound interest. But rate is 10%. Okay, but this question is a comparable question. Then we have to follow the short methods that we know, right? Extremely, they don't ask about the compound interest. Okay, what's the better method to have this? We know this loan is ending after 2 years. Then we can easily found total amount after 2 years. This is what Janik receives. Okay, 40,000 because of amount. When you see the amount, I will use 10% to 110%. But how many times? How many times? Is it 3 times or 2 times? Only 2 times. Reason, the loan is ending in 2 years. 00 and these two double zeros cancel. We can multiply 4 times. You know the 11 times 11, you know 11 times 11, 121 and 00. And 4 times 0, 0, 4 times 0, 0, 4 times 1, 4, 4 times 2, 8, 4 times 1, 4. It's 48,400 rupees. Right. The what Janik receives is 48,400. But Minadit receives is 49,600. Right? Now, who receives more money after 2 years? Because of 49,600 greater than 48,400, Minadit receives more money. Answer is Minadit receives more money. Okay. Question number 4. From question number 4, we are ready to start the indirect type problems to discuss. Question number 4 is somewhat hard, not like the previous 3 questions. Then we have to learn how to do a problem when problem is given indirectly. Okay, now then this particular question I will give you 2 methods to solve. Okay, the first method, we can use algebraic letters because find the loan amount. Question is find the loan amount, but before that we had to read this question carefully. I will read that. A person who has a loan a certain amount at 5% interest compound yearly receives 512 rupees and 50 cents as compound interest at the end of 2 years. Find the loan amount. They ask the loan amount back, not the amount of the settlement. They ask the loan amount, the principal amount. Okay, how to find that? Easy, but thing is whether you are able to comprehend that, then you have to keep listening well this, because I have to teach this. This is very hard question. If you are unable to understand, then I am going to keep you in the better way. Okay, now person who has loan certain amount. Now we have right, find the loan amount. We will find the let loan amount be P. Using an algebraic letter, we have to find that. This is method 1, okay? Method 1. You know, what's the feeling that you are getting to get the loan amount? There was a data of the problem. When there's a problem given, you have to pick the data. Just because the problem is there, you don't go write what you feel or not. Then carefully you have to understand the data. According to what they have given as the data only, we have to arrange the steps. The data is the receives 512 rupees and 50 cents as a compound interest for 2 years. You have an idea. Generate your idea. You are the one who should generate your own idea to have the interest. Receives 512 rupees and 50 cents compound interest at the end of 2 years. At the end of 2 years, not for the, at the second year, not for the in the second year. This 512.50 is not in the second year, at the end of the 2 years. At the end of that should be the total interest. right? The total interest is 512 rupees and 50 cents. Then generate an idea how someone find total interest is. Then you have to generate the idea. What is that? How to find total interest? Then 512. How to find this? To generate idea. Don't go to solve the problem. Don't. Generate the idea. The idea should be to get the total interest amount. From amount, we have to subtract loan. May I correct? You should be correct. Because amount, from the amount, if you subtract the loan, the total of interest is coming. Now generate the expressions per amount as well as loan. The answer is coming. This is a mathematical expression. This kind of mathematical expression should be written always. If you are able to learn this kind of that, you definitely are getting a credit. Okay, now amount. What's the amount? How to find the amount after 2 years? This compound interest at the end of 2 years. What you know is amount after 2 years. How to find amount after 2 years? You have to recall the method I gave you. Amount after 2 years generally, because of the loan amount is P. How to generate the amount after 2 years? You know, rate of interest 5%. Should we use 5% when there's amount below amount? No, not 5%. It is 105%. Really, we have to use 105, 105, 100, 105, 100. Am I correct? Yes. What's the idea? What's the feeling? Amount. Just because of you see this expression, you don't have feelings. The thing is the thing. Amount. When you see the amount, you can generate a feeling. The feeling is this. This amount should be a larger value. The loan. What's the amount? Loan amount is a P. You can substitute instead of the expression. Now you have to find P. Now just solve this equation. How to solve this equation? We can multiply 105 times 105. We can multiply P into, 105 times 5. 105 times 5 will be 525. You can multiply that. Doesn't matter. And 52 is remaining. And 105 times 0, 0. 52. 5 is remaining. 105 times 105 and 510 over 10,000. 100 times 100 is 10,000 minus P. Are you okay? Right. Now how to solve this equation? When you see this question, somebody feel like a very big headache they have. Right. Don't get headache. Right. The thing is, when you have denominator, you suppose that you don't have this denominator, you are trying to do this. The thing is the denominator, the very is denominator, they get rid from the denominator. How to get rid from the denominator? You better multiply this 10,000 by this 10,000, each and every terms. 1, 2, 3. All the 3 terms can be multiplied by 10,000 to get rid from this denominator 10,000. Okay, now 10,000 into P. Are you okay? Right. Eliminate. It is 11,025 P, 10,000 P, 10,000 times P, no, 10,000 P. We can cancel 2 zeros for the 2 decimal places and we have more 2 zeros at the end. Okay, now you have to subtract like terms 10,000 P from the 11,025 P. What's the answer? 1,025 P and 512 zeros. Okay, now we have to find P. What's P? What's a suitable number to cut? Because of 25 multiples, both the numbers are multiples of 25, we can simplify by the 25. Okay, or otherwise you have, if you have a calculator, you better just use with this. Okay, 25 times approximately 102 has 425 is the 100 and 2 is remaining 25 to 1 and 51, there are two 25s because 51 is remaining 12 doesn't have and 12 and 5 getting 125. Well, how many? 25 times? Yes, 5 and 0, 0, 0. And furthermore, 41 times. 41 is a prime number, no more multiples for 41. Therefore, by 41 we have to divide. 20 doesn't have 205. How many 41 times should be? 41 times 40 times 5 is the 200. You know, 4 times 5 20, because then 41 times 5 should be exactly 205 and 0, 0, 0. The answer should be 5,000 rupees. This is the answer. Okay. Now I'm going to discuss the method 2. The same answer is coming by means of method 2. Okay. Right. Where's my eraser? Method 2. Right. According to the method 2, I think using formula we can find the answer. But in formula you have, can you remember? A equals P 1 plus R to the power n. Right? There's P. We don't know the P. P is a question. Find the loan amount. And R is 5%. N is 2. A we don't know. But the question is this, not A. Then without A, how to find? Right. You have to think little bit other than when you see A. What is A? You have to suppose how to A to become. Reason A is the amount. How can an amount be generated? The amount should be generated by means of the principal along with the interest. Because when there's a loan amount of 10,000, the amount should be 10,000 or more than 10,000. More than 10,000, no? The 10,000 it should be sometimes 13,000. Because of the gap of 3,000, it is to be amount because of interest. Now, the amount should be formed by means of interest as well as principal. Then we can write P plus interest. Now, what's the interest? The interest is given, not a letter for interest. Interest is 512.50 and P. P is the problem, and 1 is 1, R is 5 over 100, and to the power 2. What is A? 2. Right? Okay. By solving this one, we can find P. P plus 512.50. P 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 0. 1 plus 1 over 20. So answer. Right? P doesn't change. 512.50. P. Okay. Number with a fraction. You know, fraction 120. If it is out of 20, it should be out of 22. Out of 20. Right? This is 20 over 20. 20 over 20, 1 over 20, how many? 20 over 20, 1 over 20, 21 over 20. 21 over 20, but not only that, we have to repeat the 21 over 20 because of square. Right. Now, find the answer as soon as possible. 21 times 21, 441. 20 times 20, 400. And we can multiply by the denominator, because the main headache is denominator. Just remove the denominator, right? Then 400 times P plus 512.50. The division denominator is a multiplier. We can multiply. Division is a multiplier, and equal to 441P. Are you okay? I'm writing 400 times P. 400P. 400 times 512.50. Remember, you can multiply 400 into 512.50. It's not a big one. You better remove the 2 decimal because of 2 zeros. Just you write 512.50 times 400 over 4. 4, because you have eliminated 2 decimal places now. Then 441P. Okay? Right. I don't go to multiply these two numbers because my answer is, my target is P. right? Okay, having this 51,250 with this 4 times, I am going to subtract this 400p. Is a positive term, will be a negative. It is just only 41p, and don't go to multiply. Don't go to multiply. No need, because I need p. My target is p. How to find p? 51,250 into 4. I didn't write 41 here. Reason 41 is a multiplier. When you take to the other side, it will be a divisor. Right. Then cut with 41 times. 41 is a prime number. There should be 41 times definitely, because we have to get an answer. 41 times 1, 51. There must be 141, 41. So what's the gap between 41 and 51? 10. 10 and 2 consist in 102. 102, there are two 41s. 41 times 2 is 82. And what's the gap between 82 and 102? 20. 20 and this 5, it is 205. Once again, 205. How many 41 times should have? 5. And answer is 4 times 0, 0. 4 times 5, 20. 2 is remaining. 4 times 2, 8 and 2, 10. 4 times 1, 4 and 1, 5. The answer is 5,000 rupees. Oh. Example number 5. It's another question of integer type, but this question has a small difference comparing to the question number 4. You have to check the difference between the question number 4 and question number 5. Both questions are running in the same way, but there's a small difference in one word. Okay. A person who has loaned a certain amount at 8% interest compounded yearly receives 432 as compound interest for the second year. But in the previous one, after 2 years. Previous question had that there was after 2 years. Right? But this question has 432 as compound interest for the second year. What do you mean by this? Suppose this interest 432 should have been calculated considering the second year, except the first year. But in the previous question, as a compound interest at the end of 2 years, there was a part like that. At the end of the 2 years should be the total interest. But this time they guess the compound interest for the second year. Find the loan amount. The same question, but different data is there, right? But don't go to complicate with the previous one. You get the difference, because the exam there can be some question given in this way. Okay, how to get? What did I tell? Before you go to have a solution or getting scared, then you have to read question carefully and understand what data is. What's the data? 432 is the data. Then what's the meaning of the data? Generate an expression according to meaning. Then you can solve. Generate an expression according to the meaning of the data. Data is 430. What is the meaning? You suppose the meaning. Everybody can suppose the meaning. 432 as the compound interest for the second year. How compound interest for the second year is calculated? You suppose the interest for the first year and interest for the second year, we can follow in the method 1, method 2. Right? How to follow the interest for the second year? How can we find that? Suppose that. Right. 432 should be the amount at the end of second year minus amount at the end of first year. I wrote what I feel. What you are feeling is to be written. That's how a question is started. Answer is to be written. Right? Amount at the end of second year, when you subtract amount at the end of the first year from the amount at the second year, the gap is coming. The gap should be the interest for the second year. You suppose that, right? If you are unable to understand this thing, you have to again recheck the second question. How the second year interest is calculated. Second year interest is calculated according to the balance forward at the end of the first year. That is the amount at the end of the first year should be subtracted from the amount at the end of the second year. Okay, right. How to find amount? When you see the amount, the word called amount, I told you, is it 8% or 108%? 108%. But they ask the loan amount. The loan amount. Now, how to find loan amount? Then there must be an equation. Therefore, let the loan amount be P. We have to write that. Let the loan amount be P rupees. Okay, or rupees P otherwise. Then, in terms of P, we have to calculate how to find the loan amount at the end of the second year. Second year amount. Using 8%, then should I use 8 to 108? 108 or 108 over 100, 108 over 100. Right? Some hard question, okay? Amount at the end of the first year. How to write? P into, how to find amount at the end of the first year? It's easy. 108, because of amount, always 108 over 100 equal to 432. Okay, now suggest me a method to solve this. Right? We have to multiply, no? Right? Then, I can multiply these two numbers, or otherwise, have you heard a word called factors? So what are the factors? By means of two expressions, you have to watch carefully. P, and 108 over 100, 108 over 100. Out of the two terms at the left hand side in the expression, we can factorize P and 108 over 100 as a common factor. Then how can I factorize? If I take P 108 over 100, 132. Right? What is coming? 108 over 100. Why? Because we have already taken P times 108 over 100 from the first term. What is remaining when you take these two terms? 108 over 100. By the second term too, we have taken the same term P times 108 over 100. That's a common thing. The common thing should be there in front of at least two terms, no? Right. Then these are the two terms. Then 1 is remaining. Why 1? Because vice versa, if you multiply this term by 1, it is coming vice versa. That's why. Okay. Now how to find P? Our target is P. Don't forget that. Our target is P. Until we get the P, we have to struggle. Okay. Now, this bracket P can simplify. Having this P times 108 over 100. And how to simplify this one? Right? A lot of students give up this kind of problems because of this kind of simplification. Don't do so. Because this is the main point that you should learn on behalf of your exam. Otherwise, you never get A. Right? Then 108 over 100 minus 1. Then you remember 108 over 100 minus 1 because of a fraction and a number. Because of a denominator 100, what did I take? You better make 100 over 100. 100 over 100, 108 over 100. When you subtract 100 from 108, because when you write 100 by 100. Okay, now you can do. What sounds coming? When you subtract 1 times 100, 100, 100 put 108, 8 over 100. And 432. Right, now make P the subject. We have to find P. Bracket means a multiplication. Right, how to find P? You better write 432. Now I am going to teach you how to get the multipliers to other side. You know 100, this 100 are multipliers and divisors as well. When these divisors are taken to the side, generally they are going to be multipliers. What they are? Hundreds. And 108 and 108 are the multipliers. If you consider the other side,